Hey YouTube, thank you for tuning in to Kiki Life of T. And as you can see from the scene here, we're going to be talking about film, which will be the hit series on Netflix, You. If you're tuning in, you're probably already familiar with the show, but if you're not, season 1 was about this guy named Joe. He was a librarian. He got obsessed with this girl named Beck. She ended up finding out that he's psycho. After dating him and being in a relationship, and he ends up kidnapping her and eventually killing her. So that's basically what happens in season 1. The girlfriend before Beck, her name was Candace. What we learned in season 2, that she's actually alive. We thought she was dead, but she's not. Joe actually thought he killed her too, but she lived. She did not die. So she appears in season 2, which is pretty cool. Bad thing for Joe, good thing for her. I think it's very important that we start this review off with just some background on Joe, his childhood, because it actually explains a lot of why he the way he is. As you can see in this picture here, he actually killed his father. His dad was verbally and physically abusive to his mother. She would, she tried to get away from him time and time again, but she always ended up coming back with Joe. And she would go off with Joe, have her, she would tell him her little secrets, told him to keep her secrets. That's a lot for a kid. So I'm sure that contributed to why he the way he is now. And also, he has mommy issues. And I guess that's the reason why he looked into women for the love that he didn't get from his mother. So that explains a lot. Because Candace came back, she started to threaten him to say, I'm going to tell the world who you are and what you did to me. But he like, I'm getting up out of here. So he run away and leave New York and run to LA, which I thought was pretty stupid because it's like you're trying to be low key. LA is nothing low key at all. So I feel like he should have went somewhere else, but he went to LA. And that's where he went. He was trying to change his identity, so he met this guy named Will, and that's actually the guy he sold his identity. I guess he said, I'm not going to go through the trouble of trying to find someone. I'm just going to take your identity and kidnap you. So that's what he did. He took the guy, Will, put him in the box, the same box that he was putting people in season 1. And Will, he kind of had like little mental issues himself. After a while being in the box, he got used to it. I'm like, yeah, you're a little crazy too. So he was cool with being in the box. Well, he kept telling Joe, like, I won't tell anybody if you let me out. I won't tell anyone or whatever. So Joe, he's trying to be a better person, a better man. So he eventually lets Will go. And believe it or not, Will did not tell a soul. He ran off to another country to be with his girlfriend. And he actually communicated with Joe later on, and they became cool. Pretty weird, but that's what happened. In this scene here, he actually is meeting the building manager. She lives in the building. Her name is Delilah. This girl here is actually her sister, Ellie. They both live in a building together. Both of their parents are deceased, so Delilah has full custody of Ellie. Joe, he forms a relationship with Ellie more than Delilah because he sees Ellie more around the building. So he kind of form a relationship with her like he did with the little boy in season 1. I guess he sees something in young kids who need help, and I guess he tries to help them as much as he can since he, I guess, didn't get that help that he needed as a child from other people. So that's that. In this pic here, you will see him actually meeting Love. That's her name. She's actually his new love interest in season 2. And, she actually approaches him. They try to form a relationship. At first, Joe was hesitant. Love kind of pushed the relationship on him. He kept trying to resist her. But later we learned from the very beginning he was stalking her. Like, he lives across the street. He was just stalking her the whole time. But they formed a relationship. They got very close. And just to go back a little bit, also, Delilah, she informs Joe about this guy named Henderson, big Hollywood guy. And he actually drugged Delilah when she was underage. He took pictures of her in her underwear as well as other women. So Delilah, little sister Ellie, is starting to hang out with him. She don't want her with him, of course, because of what happened to her. But she won't listen because she's a hard-headed 15-year-old. So Joe, he's actually trying to save Ellie and try to find some evidence on the guy Henderson that he's a perv. And as you can see in this pic here, Joe actually broke into Henderson's house to find some evidence. Unfortunately, later on we learn Delilah lover, who's a police officer, told her those pictures won't hold in court because he's not, the guy Henderson is not in any of the pictures. So Joe's like, huh. So now he wants to try to really get a confession out of him. So in this scene here, you see he actually breaks into his apartment again and ties him up, try to get a confession out of him. He has a mask on. He tries to pressure him. Unfortunately, Henderson kind of pushed some buttons on Joe about his history and talking about how they're alike. And Joe goes crazy and accidentally takes his mask off. So I'm like, oh boy, you're gonna die. Joe actually didn't intend on going there to kill him, but he actually did. And he made it look like it was a suicide. So that's what happened with that. So Henderson died, and everybody thought it was a suicide in the beginning. When Joe was leaving that evening, that night, he actually gets stopped by a police officer. Coincidentally, the police officer is actually Delilah's lover. And, you know, he stopped him. Joe has a bag of headphones and just some, you know, just some of his belongings, Henderson belongings. So he's like, you know, he's looking like, where are you going with all this stuff? So, and then Joe gonna give him some lame excuse saying he's taking it to, he's gonna donate it. So he lets him go or whatever. And then Joe goes about his business. Everybody think Henderson committed suicide in the beginning. In this scene here, you can see Love and Joe. They're in love now. And I'm like, oh, they're so cute. You know, and I'm starting to really like Joe, forgetting like, he's a killer. You don't want Joe with Love because he's going to kill her. But I'm like, he's so sweet. He's such a good boyfriend. And I'm like, no, Kiana, get it together. And I feel like one thing all these women had in common, they were all gullible. They were too trusting, like Delilah, Ellie, Love, as we know, Beck. Like, all these women was too trusting of him. Like, Love, she was pushing a relationship on him. Don't even know him. And what we later found out, Love was actually married before. Her husband, he died from some illness. But I think something else happened to him. They never said exactly, but I'm like, ain't no telling. From this picture here, was actually from when Candace, the first girlfriend, rose from her grave from Joe supposedly burying her, but she was still alive. So she reappears, and she actually starts dating Love's twin brother, 40. I'm like, oh boy. So, of course, she's trying to get close to, you know, find some evidence or try to catch Joe killing somebody else so she could put him in jail. So in this scene here, this is the first time Joe sees Candace with 40. So he's looking like, oh boy. And I'm like, oh God. So yeah, she tells him, you're gonna slip up. Men like you who are killers, they always slip up. So she's hell-bent on trying to prove he's a killer. And this scene here is actually when Love caught Candace breaking into Joe's apartment. So, of course, now Candace feel like she has to tell Love the truth. She tells Love the truth, like, Joe tried to kill me. Joe killed the first girlfriend, Beck, and this and that, and I'm here to prove it. So she tells her whatever. Of course, Love does not believe her. So Candace leaves. Joe comes home. Love confronts Joe about this new information. And he tells her part of the truth. Like, my real name is Joe, not Will. So she's pissed off. She breaks up with him. So that happened. And surprisingly, he actually let it go and got over her. Well, not 100% got over her, but he started going on dates. He started going on blind dates with other women. And he just wasn't interested. He like, this is not working out. So, of course, eventually, he started liking Delilah. And as you can see in this scene, this is actually the first time they had sex. So they were, you know, sleeping together on and off for a little minute. And Love started hearing about, was going on dates and seeing other women. So she was starting to get a little jealous. Even though we learn right here, she started dating somebody else who's actually her first husband's friend. So he's shady, she's shady. I'm like, ooh, y'all scandalous. So they started dating, but the new guy, he started asking her in this scene, like, would you move in with me? And of course, she's still in love with Joe. So she's like, no, that's a little too much for me right now. And Joe actually in this scene is watching and listening, being a little creep that he is. So her and this guy, they break up. And that happens. So as time go on, Delilah, Lover, the cop, you know, he ends up telling her, like, you know, I think your neighbor, this is after he learns Delilah is sleeping with Joe. He tells her, you know, I think he killed Henderson because that night Henderson died. I caught him walking in the building with a bag of some very expensive headphones. So she like, really? No. So she don't believe it. However, she's not stupid. So she's going to go into his apartment. She's the building manager, so she got keys. So she goes into his apartment, snooping around trying to see who Joe really is. And she didn't find anything. However, she did find some storage unit keys, which is actually where he keeps the box, which is the same box that he kept Will in, as well as Beck and everybody else with season 1. So she takes the storage unit keys, goes to the storage unit. I'm like, oh, she's about to die. So Joe walks in and he like, I have a camera in my apartment. I saw you snooping around and I saw you get the keys. So she like, what are you gonna do, Joe? You know, think of Ellie here. So he's like, I promise I won't kill you. So what he does is he put her on these handcuffs that's like has a timer on them. He locks her in the box for 15 hours. Once the 15 hours is over, the handcuffs supposed to unlock and she can leave out because he left the box unlocked. So unfortunately for him, you know, he write a letter to Love to say goodbye. He plans to leave or whatever. So in the 15 hours, he's supposed to be gone. Unfortunately for him, 40 kidnaps him and wants him to help him write a script for this movie he's doing. He's a terrible writer, which is why he needs Joe's help. So unfortunately for Joe, he drugs Joe and himself, 40. And I'm like, oh God, you don't drug a murderer, okay? You do not drug him. Ain't no telling what he's about to do. So Joe wakes up the next day. In this scene, you know, he's seeing blood on his hands. And he's thinking like, did I kill somebody? What happened? So he don't know because 40 drugged him off some LSD. So he don't know what happened in the past 15 or so hours. So he goes back to the storage unit. Unfortunately for Delilah, she is dead in her own pool of blood. I'm like, oh God, he killed her. So he's thinking himself, I killed her, but I couldn't have. I wouldn't have killed her. I wanted to let her go. So he starts backtracking, trying to replay what happened in the past hours to see like if he really did kill her. Unfortunately for him, he goes back to the box where Delilah's dead body is. Unfortunately for him, Candace walks in, pushes him in the box, locks him in. She says, oh, I am going to tell Love about this and I'm gonna call her so she can come see the murderer that you are. I'm like, ooh, this is heating up, honey. So she calls Love, have her come. In this scene here, she's telling her everything, right? And you'll see in this scene, Joe is telling her like, I'm a killer. I'm not good for you. You shouldn't be with me anymore. I killed all these people. It's all true. So Love, she still don't believe it. I'm like, what the hell was wrong with her? So now I'm starting to question Love. I'm like, what's up with you, girl? What's up? So Love runs out because she got throw up. She like, this is just too much for me. I see a dead body, whatever. So she runs out, throw up. Candace run after her. Ooh, child, it's starting to get really heated now. As you can see in this scene, Love is crazy herself. I'm like, oh my God. So she goes back to where Joe is in the box. You know, starts telling, he's like, where's Candace? So now he's suspecting. She's telling him, I killed her. He's like, no, no, no. So now he think that he don't made her kill her because of everything he told her or whatever. Just made her think she just lost all her marbles. But what we learn is she been crazy. So 40 is very codependent on Love. What we find out in this scene is he's very codependent on her because when they were kids, teenagers, their babysitter like molested him, took advantage of him as a kid, and he so-called had a relationship with her. But what we learn is, and she died. They thought 40 killed the babysitter, but no. In this scene here, this is Love killing the babysitter as a teenager. All this time, 40 thought he killed her, as well as their parents. But in all, it was Love crazy. But I'm like, this is too much for me. Too much, too much, too much. So Joe is in awe, like, you're crazy like me. Now I'm thinking like Joe would be like, oh, this is great. You're crazy like me. We can live happily ever after and be together, and I don't have to hide who I am. But no, he's disappointed in Love. I'm like, you got some nerve. So before Candace dies, she tells 40 that Joe is a killer. Of course, he don't believe it at first, but then he start investigating. He actually goes visit the therapist in this scene that was actually Beck's therapist that she was sleeping with. So he tells him like, look, he's dating my sister. The therapist tells him like, oh, y'all need to stay away from him. He cray cray. He cray cray. So unfortunately, therapist wouldn't help 40, you know, tell everybody that Joe is nuts. So he goes back to their family store that Love and Joe works at. And I guess he feel like he got to take the law in his own hands because nobody believed him. So you'll see in this scene, he got a gun in his hand about ready to kill Joe. Of course, Love trying to talk him down. Nothing happened. He like, no, I'm finna kill Joe. This is the end for him, okay? You ain't finna be dating my sister and you psycho. So, unfortunately, the gun go off. You hear gunshot. We all thinking, oh, he don't shot Joe. No. Delilah Lover, the police officer, was following Joe because he thinks he killed Henderson. And he kills 40 because he got a gun. So, of course, Love is distraught. She's sad, whatever. So, life goes on. Life goes on. Unfortunately, Love, she tries to pin the Henderson murder on Ellie. In this scene, you'll see Joe giving her some money saying, get out of here. Your sister's dead. Run away. And now she's putting two and two together like, my sister's dead. You probably killed her. So he's telling her, like, it's best you get far away from here. I'll send you money, and I'll give you some fake IDs. Just get up out of here. So she leaves or whatever. And from here, basically, Joe and Love lives happily ever after. In this scene, you will see Love. She's actually pregnant, which is actually why Joe didn't kill her. He was going to kill her at first when she came to see him in the box and found out that she's nuts too. She told him she was pregnant. I'm like, oh my God. However, and I'm questioning like, okay, you dated somebody after Joe. How we know this Joe baby, honey? But Joe went along with it and believed it. I'm like, So they lived happily ever after in the end. However, in this scene here, Joe, he goes to their backyard, their new house. They all moved in. And he notices through the crack of the gate, their neighbor is in the backyard reading a book, which gets him very interested because, you know, he loves literature and books. And you see she has a wedding ring on, so she's married. So now he's starting to get obsessed with the neighbor, and he goes off. I'm like, don't tell me in season 3 he gonna still try to mess with other women. I'm like, first off, you with love now, you don't got her pregnant, and she crazy. You do not want to go ahead and piss this girl off. But it looks like that's what's gonna happen. Unfortunately, in season 2, we do not find out what happens to Joe's mother. We don't know if she's dead, alive, or what. Unfortunately, it seems like Joe, he's still gonna be doing what he do, getting obsessed with women. I suspect Love probably gonna kill whoever he in love with next, or him. And wouldn't this be a twist? She kills him, and then the next you is about her. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? But all in all, the season was good. I mean, it ended with a twist. I was not expecting it. I love thrillers. I love movies or shows with twists, because movies and shows these days are too predictable. So I was not expecting that. So that made season 2 good for me. But I definitely say go check it out. Go right to Netflix on your account and check out season 2. See you guys soon.